Number two, you don't want her to kill you, kill your friends. So you take the shot, but then later you realize, you killed another human being, you killed an unborn child. Um, how do they come to grips with that? A lot of times they begin to believe because they did something like that, there was no good decision in that. There was a bad and there was a worse. And in that, they come to believe that they're just broken, bad, can't be forgiven. And so they begin to step away. They step away from their faith. They step away from their friends. They step away from their family. They isolate themselves. They self medicate. Um, and in many instances, I believe is that they're a large part of that number of veterans who suicide on a daily basis.
Um, is it more towards younger vets?
Um,
Because us older guys will rationalize all the other things, and where we've learned certain things, like just because there's so many things out there. Because to me, I looked at that situation differently because I wanted to, there was only one choice. There's nothing you can do. But I understand what you're getting at, and that's as we get older, we're able to rationalize certain things differently. But that's why they want young guys in the military, because they don't you and I don't want to run towards danger anymore because we live. Uh, right? I mean that's why they look and don't. I was dirt road poor.
uh,
Dirt road. I was dirt road poor as a kid because my dad died of hairy cell leukemia. So of course I'm the perfect person to go in the military because I can get a degree, I can get all that stuff, and that's who they look for. And I'm not knocking that. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but that's the same thing they look for in people who are going to go, and if we go to war, they don't want people who are rational and that kind of stuff. They just want people to react and do what they're told to do. And I know it's a different world now because my son's in it. They're not exactly the same, and I'm a different generation, and I think that has a lot to do with it also.
yeah, it's interesting. Actually, most of the research kind of shows it's the kind of middle adult, even older adult, because a lot of times as you begin to move back, as you begin to rationalize, as you begin to think, then you start thinking about the actions that you took in that deployment, the actions you took in that emergency room, or when you were a first responder on the street. And you start to dwell on it and start thinking, am I a bad person here because of what I did? Um, and so we're seeing the young ones still haven't really thought things through. But
So you're saying is it's the same thing that I have with my PTSD that affected me later in life. It didn't affect me for the first 20 years of my life. It was later on when I had, things started coming up because, we'll just leave it at that. So I can see what you're saying, so what you're saying is if we would have done it now, you or I'm not saying that's going to happen, we would not have the same response that a 20-year-old is going to have, and then later on in life have it affect them because we're at a different age now. But what I'm saying is it's happening now at our ages because it happened back when we were 20 or 25.
exactly, exactly. And we're seeing, for instance, I'm still talking with Marines from that deployment in 2011 who they they shot and killed people. It was a very kinetic environment. But then as the years go by, the reliving of that uh, wears on them more and more.